Act like you love me, please." Her voice trembled as she clutched his sleeve, eyes glistening under the hotel lights. Behind her stood her ex, smug, cruel, the man who once called her nothing. The room was filled with laughter and champagne, but in that single moment, everything froze. The CEO, Ethan, had every reason to walk away. He didn't know her, didn't owe her anything. But there was something about the desperation in her voice, the quiet plea hidden beneath her shaking hands, that struck him harder than any business deal ever could. It reminded him of his sister, the one he couldn't protect when she needed him most. For a second, his mind screamed to turn away, but his heart moved first. "All right," he whispered, pulling her close enough that her trembling stopped. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and her ex's smirk faded into confusion. She leaned against Ethan's chest, pretending to smile, but he could feel her heart racing wildly, her breath uneven. For a moment, she wasn't the poor girl being pitied, she looked like someone worth fighting for. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't pretending anymore. After the event, she followed him out, her heels clicking nervously on the marble floor. "I'm sorry," she said softly, "I didn't mean to drag you into this." He looked down at her, her eyes tired yet brave, and simply replied, "Next time, just ask for help before it hurts." She blinked, surprised by the kindness in his tone. No one had spoken to her like that in years. Her name was Lily, a florist who once dreamed of owning her own shop until life stripped it all away. Her ex had taken her savings, her trust, and left her broken. Ethan didn't know why, but something about her pain stayed with him. The next morning, he found himself outside her little flower stall, pretending to be interested in roses when, in truth, he just wanted to see her smile again. Days turned into weeks. Their worlds, once so far apart, began to quietly intertwine. He started buying flowers for his office, not because he needed them, but because he needed reasons to visit. She'd tease him about his serious face and coffee addiction, and for the first time in years, he laughed like a man who wasn't carrying the weight of guilt. One rainy afternoon, he saw her standing outside, shivering as she tried to cover her flowers with plastic sheets. Without a word, he stepped out of his car, held an umbrella over her head, and stayed there until the rain stopped. "You'll catch a cold," she said softly. "Then I guess you'll have to take care of me," he replied with a half-smile that made her heart ache in ways she didn't understand. But behind every gentle smile, Ethan still carried his past. His sister had died in an accident he could have prevented. The guilt ate at him, hollowed him out, made him believe he didn't deserve love. That's why, when Lily entered his life, he tried to keep his distance, until the day she found the framed photo on his desk. "She looks kind," Lily whispered, brushing her fingers over the glass. Ethan's voice cracked. "She was. I wasn't there when she needed me." Lily looked at him, her eyes full of quiet strength. "You're here now. Maybe that's what matters." He didn't realize it then, but those words began to heal something inside him. Months later, Lily's ex returned, desperate and bitter, trying to humiliate her again. But before she could even speak, Ethan stepped forward, standing between them. "You don't get to talk to her anymore," he said coldly, his voice steady but filled with fire. The man sneered, "Who are you to protect her?" Ethan didn't hesitate. "The man who loves her, and this time, it's not an act." Lily's eyes widened as tears welled up. For once, the world around her didn't feel cruel. She had found someone who saw her worth when she couldn't see it herself. And as the crowd watched in stunned silence, she realized that the moment she begged him to pretend was the very moment fate began to write something real, a story of redemption, love, and the courage to start again. Weeks passed, and what began as a lie turned into quiet truth. The world believed their story, the rich CEO and the poor florist in love, but behind closed doors, something deeper was growing. Ethan, who had built his life around silence and control, began to find comfort in her laughter. Lily, who once believed love was just a cruel trick, found herself waiting for the sound of his footsteps every evening. She would bring him dinner when he forgot to eat, her hands trembling as she placed the tray on his desk. He would look up from his papers and smile faintly, a silent thank you that meant more than words. Sometimes, they'd walk home together under the streetlights, talking about small things, flowers, coffee, rain, but beneath it all was a warmth neither of them dared to name. One night, as Ethan worked late, Lily quietly entered his office with a cup of tea. The lights were dim, the air heavy with unspoken things. On his desk, she noticed a small silver frame, half hidden beneath files. She picked it up gently and froze. It was a photo of a young girl, smiling softly, the same eyes, the same kindness she often saw in Ethan. "She's beautiful," Lily whispered. Ethan's hand stopped mid-air. His voice broke as he said, "She was my sister. I couldn't save her. I was supposed to pick her up that night, but I was too busy chasing money." The silence that followed was heavy. Lily set the photo down, tears in her eyes. "You can't change what happened," she said softly, "but you can stop punishing yourself for it." He looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time, he let his walls fall. "Maybe I can't save her," he said, voice trembling, "but maybe I can save you." Her tears fell freely as she whispered, "You already did." After that night, everything changed between them. Ethan began to smile more. He'd show up at her flower stall early in the morning, carrying coffee for two. Sometimes, he'd roll up his sleeves and help her arrange bouquets, clumsily tying ribbons until she laughed. The world outside still whispered about their strange pairing, but neither cared anymore. In their quiet moments, over tea, laughter, and late-night talks, they found healing. Ethan taught her how to believe again, and she taught him how to forgive himself. It wasn't a grand romance built on wealth or fame, it was something purer, two broken souls holding each other steady. But life has a way of testing love. One afternoon, Lily's ex returned, desperate and furious. He came to her shop, shouting cruel words, accusing her of using Ethan. She stood frozen, memories of old pain flashing back. Before she could speak, Ethan appeared behind her, calm but fierce. "You've said enough," he said, his voice like ice. The man laughed bitterly. "You think she loves you? She begged you to act, remember?" Ethan didn't flinch. He stepped closer, looked him in the eye, and said firmly, "She didn't have to ask me twice. Because even then, even when it started as a lie, it was already real to me." The man went silent, defeated, as Lily's eyes filled with tears. She turned to Ethan, her voice shaking. "You shouldn't have to defend me." He smiled softly. "I'm not defending you. I'm protecting what saved me." Years later, their wedding was small but beautiful, held in the same garden where she once sold flowers. As Lily walked down the aisle, the sunlight touched her face, and Ethan's eyes glistened with quiet joy. Among the guests, her ex stood silently, realizing too late what he had lost. Lily reached the altar, took Ethan's hand, and whispered, "Thank you for not walking away that night." He squeezed her hand gently. "Thank you for teaching me what love really means." In that moment, surrounded by the fragrance of roses and the soft hum of laughter, she knew, love born from pain can heal the deepest scars, and sometimes, pretending is just the first step towards something real.